Engine 1 for Car 1. Car 1's on scene. Assume in command. Give me a CAN report.
I have a great guest tonight. I have Captain Chad Criss out of Georgia. We've been talking back and forth for a bit, and I got him on. And I'm so happy for him to be on here, for you all to meet Chad, to see what he's about. He is an amazing human, and I'm so happy that we get to talk tonight. Captain Chad Criss, thank you for being on the CAN Report.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Happy to have you, my friend. And before we start, I always like to do a little housekeeping. If you haven't clicked like or subscribe, please do so. It again just helps me to know that this is going, that you guys are liking it, that you're getting something out of it. Helps me to just keep driving forward. So please click that subscribe button. And if there's something that you want me to talk about, if there's a guest you want me to have on, or if you think you've got something good to say, let me know. We could talk about it and see if we get you on the show. Also, just want to give a shout out too for Engine House Designs. Engine House Designs LLC is one of my sponsors, and his name is Cody Hill. He's doing fantastic stuff out of Memphis, Tennessee, with his company. Engine House Designs makes hats, hoodies, T-shirts, flags, patches, you name it, he's got it. Check him out, Engine House Designs, and he can also be affiliate with Engine House Designs and make a little money on the side if you promote that strong enough. So check him out and ignite the pride. With that being said, we're going to get into the show. So Captain Chad Criss, I'm just going to dive right into your bio real quick here because I want to see what you're all about. Captain Chad Criss serves with pride and dedication at the city of Austell Fire and Emergency Services, where he has devoted nearly a decade to protecting and serving his community. A first-generation firefighter, his passion for the fire service began at a young age, starting when the city of Atlanta Fire Department visited his elementary school. From that moment, the sights and the sounds of the fire trucks ignited a lifelong dream that through perseverance and faith, it became his calling. Beyond his department, he continues to give back to the fire service community. He is an active member of Bearers of the Oath, Elite Fire Training, 575 Fools, and the United Leadership Program. He also contributes to the development of future firefighters through his role in training and mentorship with Douglas County Fire Department and even within his own department. Above all, he is a devoted husband and father. He gives credit to his wife, Susanna, for her unwavering support and grounding presence. And he takes immense pride in his three children, Braden, Jackson, and Ella. His middle child, Jackson, already shares his love for the fire service and dreams of following that path, showing that spirit of service runs strong in the family. But for him, firefighting isn't just a career. It's a calling guided by faith, inspired by legacy, and fueled by purpose. He strives every day to serve his community with honor, courage, dedication, compassion, and humility. Brother, that is something right there. That is fantastic. Chad, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Man, like I said, man, this is a blessing. I'm glad you reached out to me.
Yeah. Again, like we met at Bearers of the Oath, and it was such an eye-opening experience being there, meeting all of you. Being in Georgia was the first time I actually got to be in Georgia, and the hospitality and love that you all gave to me was so important, and I still remember it fondly, and I can't wait to go back in December and see all of you again. Before we
can't wait to see you too, brother.
Dude, it's gonna be fantastic. And that's one of the reasons I want to have you on here to talk about Bearers of the Oath, talk about what you do there, and why it's so important to you. So before we dive into Bearers of the Oath, I want to talk about you. So you were a first generational firefighter. You talked about some sports as well. Did you do sports in like college, or did you just do it in high school?
So I did it in both. Back in, I mean, heck, man, when I was a wee little boy, you know, my dad loved it. He loved baseball. My dad actually played in the minor leagues with, want to say it was the Giants. Can't remember. Very fond memory, but my dad loved the sport, you know, and we were growing up, and he had the dream for me and my brother to both play sports, and we did. I had a bigger commitment to the sports because I loved it. I love playing sports. I love, you know, just the things you learn from it that I use today. My dad was a big inspiration when it came to that. But yeah, so I went, played at Campbell High School, and didn't get picked up, but I walked on over at Georgia Southern where I played at and loved it there. Then I left school and found my calling in the being a firefighter. I felt like that was something God had for me. He knew where my heart was. Not saying my heart wasn't with sports, but He knew this is where I needed to be, because I learned a lot of my public servant stuff from my grandfather. He was a big public servant, big in the church. He was, when I tell you the example of being a public servant, that was him.
So tell me about
And
him. What
got,
was your grandfather
yeah,
like?
oh yeah, man, my grandfather was a great dude, great stand-up guy. When I tell you, he'll give the shirt off his back to anybody. He'll give the shirt off his back to anybody. One of the best memories I have of my grandfather was when we was driving down the road. It's a homeless guy sitting on the side of the road. I ain't never seen it in my life, and even to this day, he reached in his pocket, grabbed out $200 bills, and gave it to him.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. When I tell you, he loved his community. He loved everybody. He never met a stranger. My grandfather, he's a lot. He is somebody I knew God had on this earth for a purpose. He lived by God, and he instilled that in me, my brother, and my sister. He used to pick us up, take us to church. He was one of the main reasons me and my brother got involved in the Boy Scouts. To this day, me and my brother are both Eagle Scouts, thanks to him and
Oh,
God.
wow.
Yep, it was one of my biggest things when I lost him back in 2007. That was hard on me. It was very hard. I went down a road I wish I never went down. And but it was a lesson learned. God pulled me out of it, and my mother and my dad and my grandmother, even at before she passed, she said, this is something your grandfather always wanted, was you and your brother to attain the rank of Eagle Scout. And I got back with it, and luckily I was able to obtain it before I graduated high school. Um, One of the things I love carrying with me, because that keeps me remembering him, you know, and he was a great man, great man.
So you talked about going down a path that you weren't proud or happy about. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. So in high school, when I lost my grandfather, I lost him back in 2007. So when I started high school, I lost my focus. I wasn't, in school like I should be. I was doing things that I shouldn't be. Just like any other young kid that's out there, and it's not a road that I'm proud of. I was drinking at a young age, something that I knew I shouldn't have been doing. Um, but it was dark for me because he was my light. He kept me grounded. I mean, he kept my family grounded, from my family to my dad. Like man, he was a saint. And it felt like I lost a piece of me. I would even sometimes to this day, I ask God why.
Mm.
Why did you take such a good man from me, from my family, and that was very hard. Um, to this day, I wish my daughter had a chance to meet him. Um,
That's
it,
it's actually impressive to have such an amazing influence and someone so impactful in your life. Um, it's such a blessing to have
it
that
is.
because you think about there's not everybody has that, right? Like, um, to have like the fact that he passed away in 2007, and to this day you
Hmm.
still talk about him like he was around yesterday, right? Like it feels like you just lost him.
Correct.
The way you talk about him, I get the impression that it literally feels like it just happened, yesterday. You lost your grandfather, and I'm sorry for your loss.
Yes.
And it just could tell like how fondly you remember him, and it's I feel how lucky you are to have somebody who had that much um, impression on you and that motivated you to do better and to get your Eagle Scout and to do school and to become a firefighter and the difference you've now making in other people's lives. And
Oh
again,
yes.
there's not a lot of people that get that. So that's pretty
Hmm.
impressive.
And that's something I'll take to today. That's something, that's what I serve for. I try to be a light for him, because that's what was instilled in me, from grandma calling because she got toe pain to the hard cardiac arrest we have to run. I try to give each and every patient as much as I can, to be their servant, to be their light, because like that's what I tell my guys, just because grandma's calling on her worst day, you don't know what her story is. You know what I mean? That she called you because she needs you, and we should strive to be that light for her, to be somebody who should be there for her. So
Absolutely.
that's
I
just something
love
I
that.
live through every day.
That's great. Yeah, and I was just talking to when I was on shift, and we were just talking about that you wake up when the first initial call, like, especially like at 2 o'clock in the morning, and you get rung out of bed and you're dragging your feet a bit, like, oh man, I'm just so tired. And gravity
Right,
doesn't work this morning, right? Like, gravity stopped working, and everyone's falling out of bed, but there's a reason why they called us. That to
right.
us, it's not an emergency, but to them, it's a big deal. It's not like they want somebody to
It
come in
is.
their house at 3 o'clock in the morning and see them in the most weakest
Right.
moments, right? Like, I don't want to
That's
wake up
right.
out of like I don't want a bunch of strangers in my house when I'm in my boxers, like that's
Right.
embarrassing, right? So
That's right, dude. That
we
is
didn't
right.
have a choice like that. As a patient, they didn't have a choice, and they need our help. They need compassion. They need love. And
Yep.
even when you get slammed with calls after calls, it's taxing mentally. But at the end of it is we took an oath to give compassion, to be
Yep.
the people in the darkest moments, and we're there to provide that light to them.
That's right. We took that oath, and we decided that we wanted to serve and protect our citizens, our community that we serve. And that's one of like the newest guy that we just got. Like I told you, that just got out of Fire One school. Like I tell him all the time, you know, this is a calling. You know, nobody held your hand and told you to sign your name on this dotted line. You
Mhm.
decided to do that yourself. So there's a lot that comes with it. That we're the protectors of our community, no matter how you want to see it, no matter in what shape, fashion, form of it, we are the protectors. And that's why they call us.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. So you lost your grandfather to cancer. He inspired you then through that. You found your love for paramedicine, for EMS work.
Yes,
How'd you
sir.
get into that?
So when I got hired on in 2016 at Austell Fire, um, they asked me, and I knew I had a love for EMS, at the time, and I still do. But I knew I wanted to be a paramedic. I just didn't want to be, and don't get me wrong, EMTs do a lot of work. Without them, a paramedic can't be a paramedic. But I knew I wanted to be able to make the decisions. But at the end of the day, big believer in God, we're not the ultimate decision. But I wanted to be able to make a difference, and that's one thing that I like to tell people. If you're all in, be all in. Our job is not just about fire, it's also about EMS. And to me, to be all in means not only staying at the EMT level, but to progress to that paramedic level. That's to me is being all in. That's just like even on the fire side, being all in doesn't mean, don't get me wrong, there are great backseat firemen even having 30 years on the job, but being all in is all about progression. It's not being stagnant. It's moving forward and giving back. You know, not only the stuff that you learned, but just the skills that you learned, and just giving back to the people that you serve, or the people that are working with you on the job. So
Absolutely.
that's where I found my love for the job, in a sense. But you just got to keep progressing. You have to keep progressing.
Absolutely. I love that like you talk about it, like it's all encompassing. We can't just do fires. I mean, yeah, it'd be nice. It'd be fun to
Right.
be able to do fires all the time, but
Right.
you know, when people need help, it's usually because they're sick or they're injured. And man, I would hate to stand at a scene not knowing how to help people. And I'm wearing a uniform, I'm
Right.
wearing the gear, they don't know that that's the thing too, right? The public doesn't know whether I'm a paramedic or not, right? Like
Right.
we don't wear, there's no big, like some departments have it, but like there's no big gold necklace around me that says whether you're a paramedic or not, right? We have the
Right.
disco
Right.
hat, but there's no big lights that says, paramedic right here. You got to come to me. And they look at us as all the same. But again, like people
hmm
said before, right? They only know you by the uniform. They don't know your skills or ability. They expect you to be
Correct.
the best and to be able
Yep.
to help them, whether you can throw a
Yep.
ladder, whether you can force a door, you can run an IV, or read a 12 lead.
That's right.
They don't know that. All they know is you're coming into their house and you're providing a service that they requested, and they want you
Correct.
to help them right now. And
hmm
I love that you wanted to step up and know that you wanted to make a difference in that field of EMS work, because again, a lot of people crap all over EMS. It's not
They do.
as exciting and fun as fighting fires. I understand that, but it's necessary. And I
That
love that
is
you don't
correct.
shy away from that.
That's correct. And that's like I said, when I go back and I actually talk to all my guys, and I resort to their training. We always harp on, and don't get me wrong, have I shied away a little bit from EMS? Yes, I have. But, I look at it in a sense of, don't get me wrong, we have to resort back to our training, and how we train these guys and what we do for them. Me being a company officer, that's to me, that's another blessing in itself, to be able to mold these younger guys to try to have the mindset that me and you share,
Mhm.
for the job. Because, I got to tell these guys, we're 90% EMS, and 10% other. And that includes your fires, your extrications, includes all your technical rescue, all that good stuff that we love and want to do, right?
Yeah.
But we had to know that other 90%.
Absolutely. Now, with the being in sports, did that help a lot with transitioning into the fire service? Because, obviously being very competitive in baseball and working in a team environment. And I've talked to other people who've been in sports. So I always like to ask the question, anybody who's been in athletics, does it help?
Oh, 100%. 100%. Me and the other captain that works on Action Today's shift, Brent Worsham, he went to South Carolina. He played ball there too. It actually helps a lot because we know what it takes to be a team,
Mm,
and that's one thing that I love about the fire service is this is not an individual sport. You're only as strong as your weakest link,
mhm.
and that's how it is in sports. Just because you have, and we can resort to baseball, just because you have strong nine players on the field and somebody that's sitting on the bench ain't as strong, guess what? If somebody gets injured, he's coming in, right?
Right.
And you're only as good as he is. And that's where it results to me in the fire service that, you know, I'm only as strong as the weakest guy on my engine. You know what I mean? Or even in my department or even on my shift. Um, to where it's a lot of that comes together for me because I know what it takes that we have to come together and help each other. If somebody's weak here, hey, let's work with them. Let's not just go back to the station and just, man, that guy sucked today at training. He has a lot to learn. Blah blah blah. Well, why don't we get out there and we work together as a team
There you
to
go.
help each other out? You know what I mean? And that's where I feel like a lot of the fire service shies away from. And that we so quick to, man, that guy, look at that guy over there, look at him. Oh man, hey, let's go be that guy's light. Let's go help him out. Hey man, you struggling with throwing this ladder, man? Let's do it. You know, my guys would tell you, I'll sit out there with you until you could throw the ladder 30 times right, and not get one wrong. I'm fine with that, because, like I tell them, for every wrong time you do it, you got to do it right 5 different times. You know, I'm all about the team. That's what I strive for. I want us to be one, and that's what I've learned being on base, playing baseball and stuff like that. We're one. This is not an individual sport.
Absolutely. I love that. And like you said, I think people have kind of brushed off some of that people and just write them off. And I guess it's difficult too. I think it's a mentality. I think it shows what kind of person you are for strength of being able to teach somebody who you think might be unteachable, right? Like it's
Correct.
just, you have to have patience. You have to have compassion. You have to
Yes.
put yourself in their shoes. And it makes me think of Clyde Gordon's presentation. I don't know if you ever listened to him, but he talks about a member that had passed away in line of duty death. And it was because of his training. And he
Mhm.
says it bluntly. He was very transparent and says that we failed him as training him. We just kept writing him off to other stations. We just kept pushing him off and pushing him
Right.
off. And ultimately it was, the reflection of poor training, and nobody really took the time to try to re-educate him, and they just kept putting him down those
Correct.
slower stations. And it it does reflect a lot on the individual that they need to learn. But,
Mhm.
if you have the skills and ability to be able to teach those people, it's such a success though too for us, so as instructors or senior people or
Yeah.
mentors, right? Like when you see them succeed, when there was a time they couldn't do it, but you took the time and you didn't make them feel like crap. They actually,
Right.
you got down to the level, and sometimes honestly, it's breaking it down to the most basic elements and rebuilding it
Correct.
up with them. That's taking the time and not making people feel like they're stupid. Man,
Yep.
that goes miles, right?
Oh yeah, and to touch on that a little bit, just like you were saying, just shipping them off to different stations or sending them to, oh, we'll send them out to the retirement station, and what I like to say, it all comes back full circle. Just because I'm gonna send them to the retirement station, I'm gonna send them out here, because oh, they run less calls or they do this or they do that, is who's hurting ultimately? Our citizens, our community. That's what's hurting ultimately, because it's, oh, well, this guy's untrainable. We're not going to pour into him. We're not going to take our time and have patience with him. We're not doing anybody a good service by doing that. You know what I mean? Because like you just said, us as instructors, that's our job. You
Yeah.
know, we got to help these guys out. We gotta pour into them, even though sometimes they don't get me wrong. Sometimes you feel like, man, golly, I done showed him this 20 different times over again. But hey, it may take that 21 time, to show him, and now it sticks.
Yep.
We got to have patience. We have to, because at the end of the day, no matter how we look at it, we're doing this for the citizens. That's who we're doing it for.
And where did you learn that from? Was it just your grandfather? Did you have any mentors or anybody else in the fire service as you were coming
Oh
up
man, a
into the service?
bunch of mentors, a bunch of mentors. Man, I can't say they're all the names, but that's that's the best part about the fire service. It's the people you meet along the way. You never know how much of an impact they have on your life. I throw a couple guys out, not just within my department, but I throw some guys out from outside of my department. Being able to meet a guy like Jason Painter, you know him. So
Jason Painter.
man, that is a stand up dude.
Yeah.
Man, he's awesome. One of my mentors, Tevin Sims, one of my mentors who helps me out in Douglas County, being able to teach their guys out there. Shane Bentley with Bears of the Oath, great mentor. It's surrounding yourself by those people, because they share that love and compassion for the job that you also share. Um, Being able to see those guys work, it is awesome. When Shane would come out and just help us out with our recruit class out of Douglas County. Man, just watching him work with some of those guys that you're like, man, that he ain't never gonna get it, Shane, but Shane takes that time and he pours into them and he tells them your why. Why are you here?
Yeah.
That's a big question we like to ask our recruits in the beginning is your why. Know why you wake up every morning and you do this job. Because that's what keeps you going. That's what keeps you focused. That's what keeps you loving the job. Um, that's a big question. I love asking people your why.
Yeah. Yeah. The why is it's becoming more prominent, and you hear a lot of people talking about it. And it's a good thing that people are talking about it and bringing it up. And
It is.
not just the why do we put our gear on a certain way, or why do we have to do a ladder throw this way, but the why, like you just said, why are you here? Why do you want to do the
Yep.
job? What's keeping you going with this? Why do you want to do it? Why does your mentor want to do all those things? It's really, really important. And when we talk about the mentors, like people like Shane and, and Jason and, they're also there as not just to show you how to do the job, but to live right and to be a good person. And a good mentor is also going to tell you some hard facts, hard truths about yourself and how to like I had a really good conversation with Shane a while back, and he laid it out straight to me, and it was really important. It was a really great conversation. I thanked him so much for being truthful, for being honest about the conversation that we had, that he didn't sugarcoat it. And he was honest. He's like, I was a little afraid to talk to you about this. I didn't know how it was going to be received, but I'm like, but if you value your friendship with people and you value somebody that you consider a mentor, you got to take all of it. A mentor should be telling you things that you need to hear, not that you want to hear, but the things that you
Right.
need to hear, right? And
Right.
it's not tearing them down. They're not going to tell you suck, but in a way that's they say, hey man, I care about you and I want you to be better, and I don't see you being better. So let's do this more here. Like, or you need to work harder, or you need to lose weight, or you need to work out more.
Right.
Like, right? Like those are hard things to hear, but you need to
Right.
hear them, because if they say, no, you're
Right.
fantastic, you're doing everything great all the time, well then, like you said, you're no good to anybody. Then your community
Right.
suffers, your department suffers. And then when someone tells you you're crap all the time, like, well, Chad just told me I've been fantastic for 5 years. What do you mean I suck?
Right.
Right?
Right. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And that's the best part about this job, because I ask my guys, even in my own department, like I ask them every time, just like we just had our annual burns, a couple weeks ago, and I'm always the one for criticism. Hey guys, when I tell you, Michael, it's from my lowest guy, even the rookie. Hey, you see anything I can work on? What can I do to make this better, or what can I do to help you?
Yeah.
And I have a lot of mentors in my department as well, because we have guys, we have the luxury to have part time as well. And some of these guys come from different departments with many years of service. And, I will ask him, hey man, how do I handle this situation? Have you ever been in this situation? Just man, just having those guys around you, it's tenfold, man. It's what, like I like to say, it takes a village.
Yeah.
It takes a village. Having these mentors, having the groups that you're a part of, like being part of 575 Fools, Bears of the Oath, Elite Fire Training. Asking these guys, what what can I do to make things better? It's a blessing in itself, and I love the fact that I'm surrounded by guys who aren't afraid, like you just said, like Shane, he ain't gonna sugarcoat it.
No,
But I'm glad to be a part of those guys, part of those, having these people in my circle that aren't gonna sugarcoat it and let me know what's up.
absolutely.
That's the best part about it.
Now, I'm not familiar with it. So, what is the United Leadership Program?
So United Leadership Program, it's a program that we do inside of Cobb County. It's for Cobb County Fire Department, Smyrna Fire Department, City of Austell, Marietta Fire Department. Is ran by Brian Marcos. It's where all these agencies can come together. It's for networking, for one, and it also gives you skills to be able to be a better leader. So what I like to take from it is how to deal with different personalities, how to talk to people on your crew, just being able to be like what we talk about, being that light, being that person that these people love to come to have these conversations with. It's at the end of it, you get a little certificate from Kennesaw State University, is sponsored through them. But you go to all these little, we'll call them meetings, and you have a guy that instructs the whole thing, and he talks to you about how to be a good leader. We have different people come in, like you do on your podcast, who give their perspective on how they got to where they are, and how they make a difference in the community or the profession that they serve.
That's fantastic. I love that. And how did you get into that?
So it's how it goes out is they send an email out in my department as far as who wants to join it.
Okay.
And it's one of those where let's see who's going to be proactive, who actually wants to be a part of something bigger than themselves. And so you'll submit I like to call an application, or submit your letter of intent to want to join the class, and we pick from there.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And then and what do you get out of it? So once you get that certification or that education from that, what are you bringing to the people that you work with that?
To me, what I took a lot from it is how to be a better leader. How to be able to, okay, like we were talking about the post that me and you shared today. Being able to have these conversations with the people that you see at the end of the dinner table, and you're like, something's off about that guy. Like, let me talk to him.
Mhm.
Hey man, everything okay? You know, being able to be a better leader, because leading is not just, I'm going to tell you what to do. This is the way we're going to do it. This is how we're going to do it. It's what it is. Being that leader means, to me is, hey, I'm here for you. I want to be that person you come to, want to be that person you talk to, and that you want to have this hard conversation with. Um, that's what I took from it, and how to be able to, because let's be honest here. If we want everybody to have the same personality, then what would be the fire service, right? Everybody has different personalities. Everybody acts different. Everybody looks different, and you have to know how to deal with these type of people. And that's a lot of what I took from it. And the biggest thing that I can tell you, like we talk about mentors, is the networking side of it. I have friends all over now. If I need a favor, I can call somebody and say, "Hey man, I need some help." That's another big thing that I love from it. Um, it's a great program. I wish that we could extend it out a little bit more, and not just our county that we do it in, but extend it out to more of Georgia, so where people can come from all over.
Gotcha. That's awesome, man. I love it. Fantastic. Giving back, learning it, and then giving back, and to knowing that you don't know all the answers, knowing that there's always work to be done on being a leader,
Yeah.
and getting an education to be a good leader to your crews, man. Like, because we talk about leadership a lot, right? Leadership is all over social media and everyone's lips. Like, everyone talks about it, and knowing that you need to work on yourself is key. That's being humble and loving your crew and loving your department, dude. I absolutely think that's fantastic. Now, you're also a 575 Fools member.
Yeah.
So tell me about the Fools. Now, I'm part of the New England Fools, and we have the Fools
Mhm.
International. And why did you join the Fools?
I love what they stand for. They stand for the same cause that I have, the love for the service and instructing, you know, they love to give back. They love to go back, and, which we got a class coming up in January for the C.A.N class. Um, I love teaching. I love, like we talked about earlier, I love being able to give back. I love being able to shake young firemen out here in the service, come out to our classes and let's make you better than you were yesterday. And
I love it.
that's
Yeah.
what it's all about.
I think that's great. Yeah, the Fools do amazing work all around, and I
Yes, they
love
do.
being able to talk to all the members now. Like, I've been, as I'm doing this platform and going traveling, seeing all the different Fool chapter, and
Right.
like I went to Mississippi and met the old school, the old South Fools. It was great, and it was cool to, like, every little chapter's got their own little piece of tradition, right? And it's
Yes.
cool to be able to see all of that, but also introduce different traditions from my neck of the woods to the South as well. And that was really cool to see. And everyone's so accepting of it. And when you're
Mhm.
in the Fools, everyone's just that brotherhood. And, we always ask the same question.
Yeah.
If you're not a Fools member, you got to ask yourself that question of, why aren't you? Like, what are you
Why
waiting
don't you?
for?
Right.
Right.
And that's one thing I love that we do every year is the 9/11 stair climb with the Terry Farrell Foundation Fund. God, it's amazing to see everybody come together for that cause. I love that every time we do that every year. That's just something I love to be a part of. Besides the classes and everything else that we do, that's a time when we come together and we can actually remember our fallen brothers and sisters.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. And then now, of course, you're on the Bears of the Oath Cadre. How did you team up with Bears of the Oath?
So funny story. I was on at Douglas County and I was teaching down there, and Shane came up one day and we were he was helping instruct us, and I ain't never met him a day in my life. I was like, man, who is this guy? He knows his stuff. And me and Tevin were talking like, man, I love to be a part of Bears at Oath. I like what it stands for, because I was talking to him and Jason about what it stands for and stuff like that, and got Shane's number. Me and him had been texting back and forth, and one day he texted me. He said, man, God told me to send you this, and I would love for you to come join Bears at Oath. Man, I'm telling you, dude, it was a feeling I couldn't shake. I was like, this is why I'm here. That
Yeah.
God, I'm telling you, He puts me in these situations, and I look at it as it's a blessing. Whether if it's a test or it's a blessing He sent it to me, and Him introducing me to Shane and being able to be a part of Bears of the Oath, that is the biggest blessing I could ever receive right now in this fire service.
I could only imagine the excitement and joy that you had when that was
Oh
requested.
yeah.
Because it's definitely it's an experience. And like we were talking
Mhm.
earlier, um, it was such an awakening for me. And I talk about it all the time of how warm everybody was, and the training. I mean, the training was fantastic. Like, I mean, like
Mhm.
legit. Like, I mean, the fires and the repetitions and the all the skill stations. Like, it was legit, and I had a blast. I learned so much, and the networking and the brotherhood and the sisterhood, like all of it. It was just such a fantastic
It's
week.
all there.
It's all there.
It's all there. It's all there. It's. I'm gonna tell you the truth, man. You can go and take classes here and there, take them here and there, but when you go to Bears of the Oath, I don't know, it's a different feeling. It's not that we have these teaching stations and it's just a conference. It's more than just a conference. If it's one of those things. If you're not walking right with God when you get there, you will be when you leave. You
Right.
know, and that's my biggest take that I get from these conferences that I take with Bears at Oath is, you know, you can't do anything that you do in your life without that man, without our Lord and Savior. You can't. And that's the biggest thing you get from that class. We have great teaching stations, don't get me wrong. We have some of the best instructors from all over the nation. But
Absolutely.
you take a lot from that class, that is for sure.
It really was like the pride that everybody had. And yeah, again, for someone like me, just a Jewish dude from New Hampshire, and then coming down south to Georgia, the Bears of the Oath, extremely faith based, but it didn't make me feel awkward. I didn't feel out of place.
Right.
I felt so welcomed. And when Shane asked me to give the prayer on Tuesday to start off the evolutions for their hot classes, man, I was blown away. I absolutely couldn't believe it. Like, because man, that's something pretty special. Like, you just don't throw that around. And
No.
that touched me deeply. And the love for me was a lot of people who didn't even know who I was. Like, you just don't forget that. And that week, everyone became brothers. Like, everyone was family, and just working with everybody and working hard and putting like everybody was putting work too. That's the biggest thing I noticed at Bears of the Oath was nobody was slacking. Like, the
Right.
students and the instructors, everyone is putting in so much effort, and they're working hard, and they're just ready to go. They're just ready to rock. They're just like hungry for it. And it was just cool to see. And then so Bears of the Oath is coming up this for 2026 in February. February
Mhm.
9th is the Bears of the Oath, the Grace of Testimony, Rebels and Saints. It's conference number 6. Registration is open, and I'm going to actually share the screen so we can both look at it together and talk about it real quick here. So
Yes,
let
sir.
me bring that up if I can here. Mhm.
And it'd be up here in my neck of the woods in Calhoun.
Yes, sir. There we go. And so Bears of the Oath. There it is. So we got Bears of the Oath here. Number 6. And let's see what we got. So we have from the lecture hall to the fire ground. You can reserve your spot today, Calhoun, Georgia. And there we got Don Sapp right there.
That's the man right there.
He is the man. I loved meeting him. What a nice guy. And that's the thing, like, that was the first time me ever meeting Don. I mean, he's been all over the place. He is he is well known in the fire service, an amazing man, done so much.
Yes, he
And
is.
he messages me like out of the blue sometimes like, "Hey, I love you, brother." I'm like, "Well, man, I love you too." Just
That's Don.
right? It's just, and I've seen him walking around with flip flops and stuff. It was actually pretty funny. But like the pictures say it all, right? Like there's Shane, there's Fluger, like just
Yep.
the pure joy, the brotherhood of it. Everyone just having fun. Oh, hey, look, that's me too. It's just like everyone's smiling, but it's just everyone became brothers, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that's really what it comes down to. Like, we want to be there for the training, we want to be there for the skills, but honestly, what you're getting out of it is a whole group of family and getting in
Yes.
touch with your faith. And again, it's not converting people. So everybody who's listening who are, hesitant or reluctant, this is not about trying to, to convert anybody or anything like that. It's literally just open up your minds and your hearts. And
Yeah.
I really was like, we talk about like Jason Painter, right? Like I was on the drill yard and we just happened to be chatting, and all of a sudden I'm opening up my heart to Jason, and I'm like, I'm starting to cry because I'm
Right.
talking about life, I'm talking about struggles, and it made me feel so much better though. And he understood it. He didn't make me feel less of a man. He embraced me, and we talked about things that are going on in life. That's
Yes.
firemanship. That's the love of the craft and everything that we do. And having this at like Bears the Oath, it's just so amazing.
Yes. It is. That's I'm telling you, like you just said, and you hit the nail on the head. That the head on the nail or whatever it is. But man, it come to this class. This is not like you said. It's not about converting anybody. This this is something bigger than you, bigger than me. This is a damn good class to be a part of.
And you've got some really good classes going on here. So they have lectures for the first day. So you have Kevin Fluger as the keynote speaker, character over circumstances, which I'm really excited to see. Bears of the Oath, hose company operations. That's the Dadgum boys doing that. I love doing hose work with learning hose work from them. Absolutely fantastic class. See Bears of the Oath number 6, Uncle Don's Do Work, Engine and Truck School, live fire, trap victims, search every job, search everywhere. You also got Tick and Can Ops presented by Insight Fire Training, which is fantastic. So Andy Starnes with Insight Fire Training. That is fantastic stuff right there. And you got 575 Fools as well. So it's great. I mean, the classes, like I said, are really top notch. You're getting some solid education, and you're doing some really good networking as well.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. 100%.
And then you're also with Elite Fire Training.
Yes, sir. With Jared Robinson, that's my guy right there.
There's another guy that's just I met at Bears, and what another amazing man! Like, and he's openly talks about it, right? And he had his presentation last year about the hard life and learning things and going down the wrong road and then coming out on the other side, right? Learning the path of righteousness. And what a humble dude. And
Yes.
because it's intimidating to see him at first, like this big, massive dude covered in tattoos, and he looks like he's going to be an asshole, but man, he was just such a nice, solid. And we immediately connected. Like as soon as I met him and he met me, like I don't know what happened, but like bam, we just connected, and we were just like having fun together. And I had to get him on the show, and I love his training company. So he's got you as a member of that as well. So what does Elite Fire Training do?
So I'm one of Jared's instructors. Just a quick background of how I met Jared. I was actually taking a class at Gordon County where he used to work at, and met him there. And like you just said, man, you just connect with him like that. He's just that guy. You look at him and you're just like, man, that guy's pretty intimidating, right? But man, he's like a big old teddy bear.
You realize like
And then from there, oh yeah, all the time. Me and him, man, we talk all the time too. And he asked me one day, he said, "Hey, I'm taking over this class," and he was like, "I'd love for you to come help me instruct." And I was like, "Man, I'd love to." And so we go around and we've been teaching at Math C. We teach the major graph now what great class, because like we talk about, it's you know the stuff that we forget to teach as instructors. We teach the VEIS, making that graph great, good job. Now what are we doing after the fact? We still have a job to do. It just doesn't stop after that. We have to provide medical care. um, and so we go around, we teach that, and I just love what that stands for too, because it's like I said, it's being around those group of guys who share that same passion and the love for the job just as much as we do. That's what makes this job so amazing. Forgive me when I say job, but this is more of a career. It's a calling. This is what makes it amazing. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It is a calling. I was teaching our recruits just this past week, which I loved. Like, I'm with you, man. I love teaching. I love everything about it.
Yes.
When I'm teaching, I learn. Um, and I think that's what, again, for good instructors and teachers, like you can't know it all. And honestly, you start to learn a lot of stuff from the students themselves. And the gentleman I teach with at my department, I can't talk, Will Tallheimer, he's our captain and he's in charge of recruit training. I learned so much from him. And he educates himself so much about this job, but we work so well together. And I'll just stand there and listen to him, and he just spouts off amazing stuff. And he's so calm, cool, collective, and we work so well with each other that I feel like our students are getting so much out of it. But
Wow.
it really is a calling to be able to do that and to be able to give it back, and the love of the job to be able to express that. And like you said, is it what I was telling with them is not everyone can do this job, right? If it was easy, everyone could do it. Because one of our kids, he's like, "Man, this was hard," and it wasn't. We weren't pushing that hard. It wasn't that difficult. But I had to say, like, you just said that was difficult. You said that was hard. Like, if it was easy, everyone would do it, right? We always say that, right? If it's easy, everyone would do it, and that's really what hits home for me when I hear them say that. Is that I'm not going to come down on them and say, you're weak or you're soft, but like this is meant to be difficult. This job is hard.
Yeah.
The gear that we wear, the calls that we go to, it's difficult all around, and we have to prepare each other for that. And that's that calling that we know it's going to be hard. We know it's going to be difficult, and that's why we love it, because we love a challenge.
Right. And that's where we talk about, like you just said, this job is not easy, you know, and our job as instructors is to be able to teach these guys not only the skill sets to be able to do the job. You know, our job is to make sure these guys go home. I'm giving you the skills, the foundation to be able to go home. And it's up to you after that to build upon that. And that's where we talk about sometimes, well, some guys they kind of they skated away through it, they got through it, but eventually it's gonna show, and I hate that, but it's that's where us as instructors, we have to sit these guys down and help them out. We got to get them to that skill set and be able to pour in them what was poured into us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Man, it's so awesome to be able to talk with you about these things and about
Same
the
here,
whole
brother.
part of it. Like, it's just, I love being able to talk with people about the job, about the love for it, and you're just such a solid person. And to be able to hear your message loud and clear that you're here for the cause, you're here to help others. It's in a world of sometimes of hate and discontent and eating people up and eating our own. You have to pick out the good people, and there's a lot of good people
You
out
have
there.
to.
And
Yes.
but you're one of those good people, man, and it's always a joy to watch what you're doing, to see how you're just always so positive and loving the job and loving people, and
Yes, sir.
just like talking with Nate Sturm and talking with Shane and Kevin and Tom and all these great people that just and Nelms, Chunk and just all
Oh
these
yeah, I love
right.
him.
And these are the people like I got like I had never met Chunk before until I went to Bears and like, wow, this is a solid human. I absolutely love talking to
Mhm.
him.
Yeah.
It's that brotherhood, it's that tribe, and you got to hold on to that. And sounds like you definitely have developed your tribe. You have that solid
Yes,
core of
sir.
people that you look out for. And now,
It wasn't always there.
yeah,
And that's the thing, like I didn't get to where I was at, because I had these people in my life because they weren't always there in the beginning of my career.
right.
Um, and I want to talk about that a little bit. When I first
Sure.
got in, man, man, gun ho, loved it, and that's a lot of these other young firemen. But, sometimes I would say you get around the wrong people too, who don't share that same love and it brings you down,
Hmm.
and I mean, and there were times where I asked myself, man, is this what God had for me? Is this the right path that he had for me? And then from there it was, no, this is the right path. It was one year I took a MAPC class, and I'm gonna tell you, buddy, that's when it kicked it off, And like, don't get me wrong, like, we had some of these go getters in our department. We do, we still do. But I got around some of the other guys that didn't share that love. But I took a class at MAPC, and that's when I met Jason. And man, and sitting down and talking to him, there are these people are out there, and it was, man, bump what everybody else is doing, you know, do you,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, it's, yes, we are a team, but you're gonna have these slugs, is what we like to call them. You're gonna have those slugs, but you got to be strong enough to overcome these guys. You know, you got to keep pushing forward and know your why. And that's a message I want to give to a lot of people out there is you're going to be around these people. You are. But if you continue to know your why you're doing this, I promise you that's what's going to get you through. I promise you. And you create a network and go take these classes and get around people, go to conferences and get to know people. I'm telling you, you will see that there are people out here who love this profession more than you ever thought.
Man, that's awesome. I didn't want to interrupt you because that's like just the clips right there would be amazing. That's gospel
Yeah,
right there, brother.
I
You nailed
appreciate it,
it.
brother.
That's right from the heart. That is definitely soulful right there, man. I appreciate that. That's people need to hear it more. And you're absolutely right. Like I was like that years ago when on my previous department, I would second guess myself all the time. What am I doing
Yeah.
here? Why am I doing this? Do I really want to do this anymore? I just felt so downtrodden and I'd lost the passion. I was disenchanted and I'd leave work every day going, what am I doing? Is this what God put me on earth for, is to be miserable, or there's got to be something better? And like I tell Shane a lot that God definitely has a purpose. Um, and for me, he guided me on the road to meet all of you, to start taking these conferences and meet all these people. And um, I think there's a plan for everybody, and you have to
Mhm.
open your heart to the good people out there. It's amazing people like you, and like it's so wonderful to hear like good people. Like you have to find your tribe, right? And we talk about that. There's the tribe, and you hold on to them dearly, and they're gonna love you and support you, and you know, forget what everybody else has to say. You're gonna have to drown out the haters, and they're just gonna keep yapping. But your brothers that are there for you, they're your tribe, and they're gonna hold you up and be there for you, and make sure you keep pushing.
Right, right, correct. And that's, and with the keep pushing part of it, besides my tribe that I developed in my profession, you know, my wife, my kids, I'm telling you, that's another thing. They keep me pushing. Like I told you before we started, like wife said, "You better get on there. You better do this. You have to. She's pushing me to do it. Because she knows my love and my passion for the job, and just even my parents. They gave me the knowledge and the skill sets to be able to push forward, even with some of the things that I use today. My mom and my dad. And I'm telling you, like without them, I wouldn't be who I am today.
Oh man,
So
imagine
it's a blessing.
we got to have our family. We got to thank them and and praise them. I mean,
Yes.
like I set up my office here, talking to people sometimes almost 4 hours in a day. And my wife's patient enough to. I'm closing this office doing this, and she's downstairs dealing with the kids and getting life going. And
Yeah.
without our family supporting us in the ventures that we do, man, we couldn't do it. Absolutely not.
Correct.
We're
That's what my
extremely
wife's doing right now. She's taking care of that 3-year-old.
Well, I thank her for pushing you to do this. I really, so make sure you tell her that. I tell her thank you so much for pushing you to do this, and I'm glad we got out to do it. So, with the fire service and all the things you do, what are some, as we're winding down, what is some of your favorite skill sets that you like? What are you very proficient in? Is it forcible entry? Is it search? Is it nozzle work? What do you really like?
Mine is search. I
Okay.
love search and writ. I love search and writ. Those are my two favorite things to do, and those are most things that I'm proficient at. For everybody that comes to our class in December, I'll be teaching the writ drill for the Pittsburgh drill. I love that. I love it. Because we've been building, we talk so much about, nozzle work and, advancing and hose management and stuff like that. But we got to build that search culture back. That's something we have to bring back. To me, every structure gets searched. Every structure.
Mhm.
That's just something that I'm a firm believer in. Me and my guys at Douglas County. I'm gonna tell you somebody that is more proud about search than I am is Zach Flowers. Man, that guy right there, he loves to search, and it's a good thing because we need people like that. We have to know that just because we saw the post the other day. I think you shared it as well. That you know a dad can be outside saying, "Oh no, nobody else is in there. Nobody else is in there," but he may have his family hog tied in there, and we're believing him because we're just like, okay, well, if he says it's clear, then
Yeah.
no, that structure is not clear until we say it's clear.
Yeah.
Um, and that's something that's my forte, search and writ. Because without that, just like that dad I was at the post we were talking about, we just killed that family. He didn't. I mean, he, ultimately tied them up, but we killed that family because we decided not to go searching because he said it was clear.
Yeah.
That's our job. We signed our name on the dotted line and took the oath to serve and protect, life safety. That's that number one that a lot of us forget. We're so big on, oh yeah, when I get on scene, I'm gonna be the first one on the nozzle. I'm gonna be the first one to make entry and put that fire out. But who's searching? You know, who when you're doing that 360, and we have 70% involvement and we see a room that's still not involved in fire, hey, let's look at the time of day. Is it summer break? And some kid may be in that room. Ladder that thing and let's go search it. You know,
Yeah.
you never know what you're gonna get. Search, that's something big to me. Writ is something big to me because it comes back to firefighter safety. I'm my brother's keeper. That I gotta, be able to do the job to be able to get my brother out if I need to. So
I
those are
love
my
it.
two things. I love them.
Those are really the engine work, search and writ are one of my favorite things as well. Or three of my favorite things. I love. I love teaching those. I love taking classes for those. Um, I love learning new ideas for writ. I love learning. That's why I love going to these classes because I want to know how to do something a new way. And maybe the old ways work, but sometimes there's some new teachings out there and there's new information out there that we should be looking at and that we should be training on. And because sometimes the old way doesn't work, we just keep doing the old way, and we try to make it work. But maybe if we can work not as hard to get our brothers and sisters out of a bad environment, let's do
Right.
it that way.
Right.
And
And that's the thing, and too, being an instructor is, there's a million ways to do one thing,
yep,
but you gotta find what way works for you. I can show somebody 10 different ways to throw a ladder, but we gotta bring in to the concept of, I like to do a high shoulder throw, but is that gonna work for everybody? No.
right.
But there's a million ways to do things, and you got to find what works for you. You know,
Right. Absolutely. Because you don't get there's no instructor manual on the active scene, right? You got to train
right?
what works for you, and you got to always have a plan B, a plan C, a plan D. Like,
Yep.
if the old way is not working and you're afraid to try something new, then you're going to be stuck trying to figure out how to do it. Well, maybe that new way is your plan B. Like that. So always
Right.
have something in your back pocket so you can follow up with it. So,
Yep.
man, I
And we talk
appreciate
about
you.
muscle memory
Yeah, muscle
real
memory,
quick.
dude.
And we talk
Yeah,
about muscle
absolutely.
memory. When I train guys, I tell them all the time, like, do the way practice the way we're going to play. Just because you saw, John over here throw a high shoulder throw, don't mean you can't butt them feet of the ladder up to the structure and just walk it up. You
Right.
know, find what way works for you. You got to be proficient, and you have to make sure it's an effective way to do it.
Yeah.
I don't care if it looks good because, oh man, they did the high shoulder throw. Hey, guess what? That ladder's still gonna get to that window the same way. You know,
I love that. I love actually that you said that, because I think that's super important, because like the high shoulder throw, or the flipping it onto your shoulder. Yeah, that's pretty, but it doesn't need to be done
right,
that way, because half the time you're taking the ladder off of your truck. You're not flipping it onto your shoulder, right? It's coming off of either
right,
the rack or behind, off the rear of the truck. You're not flipping it on your shoulder. You're literally just sliding it out and putting it on your shoulder. So yeah, the flip
correct.
is pretty and stuff, but it's not really, you're not using it. And for me, like, I'm short in stature, like a high shoulder throw is not really conducive for me because of my build. So
Mhm.
yeah, maybe I'll take the textbook way and button up the ladder to the building and just throw it up that way. It works just as well. And if I don't have to work as
Right.
hard and that's easier for me, then do it. It might not be cool looking, but it works. And I think that's really, I
Right.
love that you said that, because some people, I wouldn't say some people, but they're just out there that it's more about how it's perceived, because everyone's always videoing our fires, right? It's always someone with the
Yep. And
camera.
everybody wants to look cool.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Everybody wants to look cool on camera, dude. Our job. That's what people are just missing. Our job. Do your job. Life safety, property conservation. All that stuff. Do your job. I don't care how it looks, as long as it's effective and efficient. You know, and that's, golly, I can't harp on that enough of my guys. I can't. I can't. Even like I said, even our burns. Just because we saw two guys, throw it over to, use their high shoulder throw, you know, don't mean you can be that guy that just butts the feet up, walk it up, and put the ladder up. Guess what? All three of them got to the window, right? And they
Yeah.
both were, however you want to say, efficient and effective.
Yep. Absolutely, man. I love it, man. What a good. I'm so glad you brought that up, because it's so important, man. Absolutely.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
I appreciate you, Chad. And also, before we go, because I know you know him real well. I always like to also support Next Rung. So if anybody is looking for anything, like we talked about brotherhood, we talked about firemanship, we talked about being there for everybody. Uh, Next Rung, Blake Stennett, Charlie Brown, the whole crew, they do amazing work. And they were at the last Bearers of the Oath, and Blake spoke about his story, why he developed Next Rung, and he's doing amazing things for all of us in the fire service.
Yeah.
So if anybody needs help, if you're looking for anyone to talk to and you don't know how to do it or you don't know where to go, you can go to Next Rung. You can do the barcode there, and the numbers on the back as well. This card, I always like to present this card, so you can reach out to them. Real talk, Next Rung. The number is 833-NXT-RUNG. That's 833-698-7864. You can text support to speak with a peer support provider, or text info to learn more about our organization. So please reach out to Next Rung if you are having issues that you don't know how to resolve on your own. If you're feeling that there's nowhere to turn, there's people to talk to, and they're there to listen. They're there to get you help that you need. They'll set up appointments. They'll do whatever they can to help you. But the thing is you have to do it first, right? The important part is, if you're struggling, you need to get the help. If no one knows that you're struggling, they can't help you. So do yourself a favor. For anybody out there, please reach out to Next Rung if you need someone to talk to, or if you need help finding a doctor or a place to go. They're going to help you out. So with that being said, Chad, my brother, I appreciate you so much for being on the C.A.N Report. This was a great conversation. I think I need to get you on again so we can actually talk about like other stuff too, like the actual like doing some stuff in the drill yard and some other tactics and operational things. I think that'd be a lot of fun to talk about.
Yeah, call me, brother. I love it. I love that stuff.
Well, see, so this was your first podcast, right?
Yes, it was. I'm telling you, man, I was nervous. Right before we did this, like I said, I'm a believer, man. I prayed and I said, God, give me the words that you want me to speak, and I feel like he's done that for me. So I owe it all to him. And brother, man, I'm gonna tell you, I love you, brother, and I want to thank you for all the good that you've done with the C.A.N Report, man. I love all the different guests that you have on, because like I said, I never stop learning. There's a lot of stuff I learned from all the guys that you had brought on about different leadership skills and different ways to do things. So I want to thank you for that as well, brother.
That means a lot. I appreciate it so much. That definitely means a lot to me, especially coming from someone like you. It really hits home. It helps me to keep this going. So thank you so much. Now, if anyone wants to reach out to you, they have questions about Elite Fire Training or 575 Fools, how can they reach out to you?
Yeah, I'll give you my personal number on here, 404-626-8098. Just shoot me a text. You can also email me. You can email me on my city email, which I prefer a little bit better, at C. Criss, that's CRISS, right there behind me, at Austell, AUSTELLGA.gov. So anything you want to reach out about training and different classes that we have going on, please reach out and let me know your needs.
Absolutely. Fantastic, my friend. With that being said, thank you so much, Captain Chad Criss on the C.A.N Report. We got his feet wet with the first podcast, soon to be very many for Chad Criss, I'm sure. So you all stay safe. Be well. Here it comes, Chad. Nozzle Tov. There you go, brother. Thanks all for tuning in to the C.A.N Report. Before we wrap up, I want to give a big shout out to our sponsor, Engine House Designs. They're a firefighter-owned, family-operated business that's been repping the fire service since 2021. Engine House Designs specializes in custom firefighter apparel, hats, hoodies, t-shirts, plus decals, flags, and patches. Whether you're looking for a single shirt or outfitting your whole department, they've got you covered with bulk pricing and top-tier quality. Their mission? Simple. To ignite the pride in firefighters across the country. Check them out on Instagram, Facebook, or visit enginehousedesigns.com. Engine House Designs. Ignite the pride.